Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Andrew Warren, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about a recent purchase that I made with Tesla stock. And this includes a pretty decent purchase, not anything super crazy like $5,000 to $10,000, but as you can see from the title, I spent around $1,600 on Tesla stock. That's a pretty big amount for me personally, and I actually didn't make this purchase through Robinhood this time around. And of course, before we get into this, as always, please make sure to smash that like button. It really does help me out. And also, just to note this at the beginning of the video, you can get 3 free stocks valued up to $1,600 if you sign up with my referral link to Webull in the description below, and if you deposit $100 into your account. Keep in mind you can take that $100 right back out after you get your free stocks. That's what I did, and it worked for me. So it's basically just free money, and this is like the first time that I've ever seen them giving away over 2 stocks. So you get 3 free stocks if you do those 2 things. Just wanted to let you all know about that. But back on to the main point of this video. As I said, I recently spent around $1,600 on a Roth IRA purchase for Tesla stock, and as I stated, this was not purchased on Robinhood, considering that this is pretty much just taxable accounts only. We don't have access to Roth IRAs on Robinhood. I really wish we did, because I would probably use that as well, just to have everything integrated into one platform. But I ended up downloading the Fidelity app, and honestly, if you're looking for a good Roth IRA app, one that's just specifically for that retirement account, then the Fidelity app is actually pretty good, and it was pretty much an instant transfer from my checking account. I thought I would end up having to wait like 2 days or something for it to transfer through, but I actually just clicked transfer this amount of money, and it let me instantly buy Tesla stock. And also another thing is, keep in mind this purchase was made on Monday, so we have seen a little bit of a downturn with Tesla stock over the past week. If we take a look at it right now, it's at minus 7.37%, or I mean, as you can see from my portfolio, minus around $13,000. So we have seen a slight drop for Tesla stock. So basically the price that I bought it at earlier this week is higher than what it's at currently. However, that does not bother me at all, considering that this is a long-term investment, and I think Tesla stock is going to be worth a lot more than just $400 or $430, which is what I paid per share in the future. And honestly, I'm not too worried about that initial buy-in price, just because I wanted to make sure that I went ahead and put some money into my Roth IRA this year. And so like I said, the short-term movements aren't really relevant, and they don't affect like my mindset on Tesla stock. And another reason that I just decided to dollar cost average with this purchase is just because we are nearing the end of the tax year, and we're getting closer to that April month where tax payments are due, and I just want to make sure that I have this maxed out before the deadline, because a Roth IRA is honestly one of the best opportunities out there. If you do want to start investing, I would personally recommend starting out with a Roth IRA first, just because you are limited on how much you can put into it. And the main reason that I love the Roth IRA is because by the time you're 59 and a half, you can take out whatever gains you have, whether you've made 100% or 2,000% or 10,000%, whatever your gains are, or whatever your portfolio is worth at that point in time, you can take it out without having to pay any taxes whatsoever on those investments. So in comparison to this $162,000 portfolio we have right here, let's just take a look at the profit so far. So around $60,000 in profit. Let's just pretend I decided to sell that right now. I would have to pay a specific tax percentage on that, and since I've held it for under 1 year, it would be short-term capital gains. And considering that I've held this for under 1 year, I wouldn't even have the advantage of long-term capital gains tax rate. So I would basically just be paying my typical tax rate, and that could be around 22 to 30% or somewhere in that range. And that's kind of one of the downsides of having a taxable account compared to a Roth IRA, because if you can wait until you're 59 and a half, then you can take everything out without having to pay any taxes on it. So that's really why I want to emphasize why you should contribute to your Roth IRA. It's really one of the best advantages you can get in life, in the sense that you don't have to pay taxes on any of those gains. And also, of course, you want to make sure you're utilizing your Roth IRA to its greatest extent. So you want to make sure that you're really confident in the companies that you're investing in for your Roth IRA. If you're choosing not to just invest in an index fund, you have to make sure that you're investing in companies that you truly believe in and you've done your research on, because you could end up wasting all of these years over time and either losing money or not really making a lot of money. And if that's the case, then you won't get to enjoy the rewards of what you would usually get out of a Roth IRA if you have like a pretty solid growth investment. Now that I've addressed all of that, I'll go ahead and throw up an image on the screen of my purchase. This is the first part of the purchase receipt. It separated it into 2 receipts because I bought one which was a fractional share, and then I bought other shares as well on top of that. So like I said, I spent $1,600 in total, but the first one says, order to buy $1,600 of Tesla partially filled, 3 shares filled at a price of $430.93 per share, and this was filled at 2:41 p.m., and then we also have that last fractional share being added as well, in which it says it was partially filled at 0.712 shares at a price of $431.09, and that was also at 2:41 p.m. So if we take a look in comparison to the current price for Tesla, we are currently at a share value of $407.50, and like I just addressed from my purchase with Fidelity with a Roth IRA, it was at a value of $431. So it has dropped around like $24 since then, but like I said, this really doesn't bother me at all. Yes, I understand in the meantime it has gone down, but considering the fact that with a Roth IRA you technically can't sell until you're like 59 and a half anyways, then that doesn't really bother me. And of course you can always change out your investments within that account. It's all about just whether you withdraw that money or not, I believe. So that is kind of another thing there. With a Roth IRA, it's certainly not a short-term investment. This is something that I look for the long term, and I'm currently 22 to provide some perspective on that. So we're talking about around the time that I'm 60 years old. And that's another thing that we commonly hear as well. I hear so many Tesla investors across the message boards and the YouTube comment sections, even in YouTube videos, talking about how they're basically married to their Tesla stock. Some people even say that they're not even ever going to sell it. They're going to pass it down to their grandkids, which is honestly not a bad idea if you've already made a lot of money on Tesla stock, and instead of selling every single bit of it, they decide to keep some of it and pass it down to their children. Honestly, that seems like a pretty solid idea long term. I mean, if we look back at a stock like Apple, one that is continually hitting all-time highs, that is one that has grown a lot over time. And honestly, when it comes to Tesla stock, like I said, there's a lot of people that are married to their Tesla stock, basically people that don't want to sell it, ones that want to hold it as long as they possibly can, some that don't even want to sell it in their lifetime, which honestly, like I said, that's a pretty good perspective. Even if you don't believe completely that you're going to never sell it, as long as you have that perspective of just a long-term investment timeline, then I feel like that's exactly the mindset as a Tesla investor that you would ideally want, just because you don't want to be stressing too much about the short term, since it's pretty irrelevant, especially if it's a Roth IRA investment like with my situation. But I'm bringing this up because I feel like it's relevant in the sense that it gives some perspective on a lot of what Tesla investors are viewing their investment as. A lot of these people are viewing it as a very long-term investment and as an intergenerational investment, which is of course good for those investors that are wanting the share price to grow over time, because that means there's a lot of people that don't plan on selling it anytime soon. And that's also another good reason of Tesla's current share price right now, because we know that it's a little bit pricey, but it's pricing in a few things into the future that are pretty much inevitable to happen. Obviously, it's not guaranteed, but it's very likely based on the accomplishments Tesla has had so far and what they're planning to do. But the point with that is that a lot of people that are buying right now are buying and planning to hold over 10 years, which is good in my opinion, because it means that we're having a lot of long-term investors coming to the table and possibly less short-term investors. But keep in mind, there's always going to be short-term investors and traders attracted to Tesla simply because of the fact that we see it surge sometimes, we see it dip sometimes as well. There's actually some pretty interesting trading opportunities there, but I wouldn't be personally the one to risk trying to guess when this stock goes up or down just because it's so random. But my point here is there's a lot of investors that are buying Tesla stock right now that are not planning to sell it for many, many years into the future. One of the main reasons for that is because it's a little bit pricey in terms of some people's perspective. So for them to justify buying the stock, they have to hold it for the long term, which is actually pretty good for them in my opinion, because I feel like holding it long term, aside from its current price, is going to help them, because I feel like this is a company that will continue to grow tremendously, especially with this S-curve adoption rate that we're going to be seeing out of EVs into the future over this next decade. And also the autonomy lead that Tesla has with the full self-driving data, that is huge as well. Even ARK Invest has talked about the opportunity of autonomy being a $10 trillion market by the time of 2030, which is really huge when you think about Tesla's current market cap. Not saying that Tesla will, of course, take up all of that market, but even if they just take up a slight piece of that, it's still going to be a lot of revenue for Tesla. And when we start to think about these things and add on the different factors, whether it's autonomy, whether it's energy storage, whether whether it's Tesla semi-trucks, the Cybertrucks, newer models being put out, and everything stacked upon that, there's really a big ecosystem of Tesla products that are going to be available. And especially as we get further into the autonomy world, as it continues to advance the full self-driving technology, then there's going to be a lot of revenue opportunities with digital entertainment and things like that with the Tesla screen in the center. And I'm assuming as time goes on and as autonomy is perfected, then that's going to be a lot more relevant and Tesla can capitalize on that market. And we could possibly be seeing some similar things like how we see out of the Apple Store, where they take a certain percentage from the app developers. So there's a lot of opportunity for digital revenue in addition to just the normal revenue that we see right now, even aside from full self-driving, just from the cars themselves. So I think that's where Tesla has a huge advantage in the future, is this revenue from autonomy and infotainment and things like that. But anyways, with this video, I just wanted to add a little bit of perspective on why I'm still buying Tesla stock right now. Honestly, my opinion about Tesla has not changed. At this point, it's just me basically buying more Tesla stock whenever I have cash. There's really not a lot of thought process into it other than the fact that I know I want to buy more Tesla stock. And of course, I have a lot of reasoning behind that. But in general, when it comes to my investing perspective right now, there's nothing too complicated about it. It's just me dollar cost averaging and buying Tesla stock whenever I have the opportunity to do so. It's nothing too complicated. But anyways, I just wanted to share this video with you all. So please make sure to smash that like button if you enjoyed. And also, like I said, feel free to check out Robinhood and Webull in the description below. If you sign up with my referral link, you'll get some free stocks. And especially with Webull right now, you can get 3 free stocks valued up to $1,600. And to get that, like I said, all you have to do is sign up with my referral link and deposit $100 into your account. You can take that $100 right back out after you get your free stocks. So it's basically just nice passive income with minimal effort, and it helps support the channel as well. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week.